Yeah. Okay. So now coming back to the topic.
Classic.
Yes,
Classics.
classics.
So classics में Oliver Twist and this. Yeah, that's it. Hounds.
Robinson Crusoe,
Nope. 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 Nope.
Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer.
I'm
Yes.
pretty sure everyone's read.
Tom Sawyer.
Yeah,
Tom Sawyer. Have you read Huckleberry Finn, the sequel?
yeah. I've read the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn
Huckleberry.
and not
Yeah.
Tom Sawyer.
I read.
Yeah.
You didn't read Tom Sawyer.
See, actually, the thing is, I was first introduced to these characters through like picture books,
Okay.
and I stuck to that.
Okay.
But then there came a point where people started reading the unabridged classic versions,
Okay. Okay.
and
Amar Chitrakatha?
not Amar Chitrakatha, the unabridged,
No,
like
before
the
that,
original
the
book.
picture books. The
Picture books? No, picture books had Amar Chitrakatha had Robinson Crusoe and
No, they would.
Gulliver's Travels
I
and all.
think so, because my mother had a collection of Tom Cruise. I don't know if it's Amar Chitrakatha, but the animation, I mean, the drawings were similar. Oliver Twist, Tom Sawyer, and all those. I'm not sure if it's Amar Chitrakatha because I read the classics for the first. I mean, these for the first time as comics.
As comics, yeah, exactly.
Comics, okay.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly. The fact that they could consolidate all of that into one small book was a major feat at that time. And then suddenly
Yeah.
I was introduced to the unabridged classic, and I'm like, why do these people write like this? Like, what is the point? When there are picture books that tell us the same thing in like 25 pages, these people went and wrote like 600, 700 pages of the exact same thing, and I'm like, damn.
No. I have gone, like, this conversation is taking me very deep into my own memory. Okay, there is a book called The Troublesome Mr. Toad. Have you read this book?
Nope, never heard of it.
Awesome. It is awesome. It's a very stupid book. It's about this little frog and all these people who are personified and things like that, like animals who are personified into, like, there's a frog, there's a I don't know what, or beaver, there's a mole rat, all these crap. So that was the first book.
Oh, that way I liked Animal Farm a lot because it was a very small book, but it's also considered to be one of the classics.
I have not read Animal Farm.
Yeah, so you can just cross that off your list within 2 hours because it's like 100 pages.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very.
So, like, if you're gonna start reading classics, might as well start with Animal Farm because then you can start crossing them off the list faster.
Oh, and if you like angst and all those things, try Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, I wanted to read that book.
No,
Yeah, I've heard a lot about
Wanting
Wuthering
to
Heights.
read this book.
I mean, all the classics followed a similar pattern or something, right? But then Wuthering Heights was angst. Oh my god, it was angst. Oh man.
What angst, particularly?
Feminism, I think it's
Like,
about feminism and all
It was angst. It was pure angst. It was like this guy and misunderstandings and then some death, random death, and the moors and everything. It was angst. It was angst in a book, and it was awesome.
Okay.
You should try it. Wuthering Heights. Yeah.
Okay. Fountainhead, you've read Fountainhead too, right?
Somebody stole my copy of the Fountainhead.
Okay.
it's like the most quoted book in the film industry. I don't know why. Like everybody talks about reading The Fountainhead and how it inspired them to write this story or that story. How everything is somehow
Kashyap, right?
connected to
You're talking about Kashyap.
Not Kashyap exactly. I am specifically talking about Gautam Menon and all of his interviews where he just talks about Ayn Rand.
Even Prithviraj. He also.
See, everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
What is this? Yeah, I read like around.
Everybody talks about The Fountainhead.
No, I think it's like 17
Oh,
pages
that was.
or so I read and then I stopped for some reason.
No, did you feel it was very, I don't know, inspiring? I don't know, the guy was down.
The character was very unusual. I've only read, I'll be very candid, I've only read 70 pages. I didn't do anything about it after that. I just left it. I like, okay, theek hai, chhod do. It is still there somewhere there. Yeah. So.
Was that a ghost?
No, you should try reading it. It's, I don't know, it's it's I mean, you might not be able to relate to it, but somehow you feel energized.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. It was like that. I mean,
It,
I remember how it was introduced to me. Okay, my mother saw an interview of Prithviraj, and he said Ayn Rand was his favorite writer and all something. He said something. So my mother went and bought it from a second-hand bookstore, and she
Yay!
gave it to me. Okay, and it was this thick,
Palem,
and I
Palem,
was like,
Palem second
no,
hand.
yes, Palayam second-hand, and it
That
was this
place
thick, and
is heaven.
I put it off for a long time. Then one day I was like, okay, I'll try it, and then I read. And I was like, okay, I wasn't. It was not relatable, but it was energizing. You wanted to do something. I don't know what, but something.
Okay.
So
I have no context whatsoever about the book, so I'm just gonna assume that it's good.
It's about architects, and he talks a lot about
yeah,
architecture.
he
The
was
the
stepped down
author,
on for a long time. But then he rises up despite everything thrown at him. It's very energizing.
motivate, inspiration. Me, but for me, it's like what I liked about this book, Fountainhead, even though I've only read 70 pages, is that this character, this person is talking about the architecture whole thing, that whole firm and the whole profession and everything, right? And she's talking in terms of an architect, right? She's talking about the columns and what kind of columns, but at no point are you lost. You're not like, "Acha, okay, I don't know what that feels like." So she did a great job of bridging that gap and then making you feel comfortable. Like not a lot of authors do that. Like for me, I hate Wodehouse because of this, because he's so out there. If you've read Wodehouse books, they're very out there. They're very like a lot of people love them, but it's like you have to get so involved in the book and with the character. You have to follow these characters consistently. It has to be like you have to keep following them throughout. Otherwise, you lose the thread and it's gone. It's just havoc after that. You don't know what you're reading, and then the language is on a different level. Everything is it's havoc. So you guys have
No
read
what?
this book called Then There Were None, and Then There Were None.
Ah,
Agatha Christie?
Yes.
Uh, I don't think I've read that specifically. What about the ABC murders?
ABC Murders also, no, I have not read. I have not read ABC Murder. That's the only classic Agatha Christie that I've not read. So there are two books. If you are anybody who's watching even now, okay, there are two books that you should read of Agatha Christie. There are
oh,
two
I was
books
confused.
that you should read of Agatha Christie. Number one is the Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Okay, mind
Okay.
blowing stuff. It is insane. And the other one is Then There Were None. Again, I was like, I'd never do this, right? Because books are such a slow process of read. It involves a so slow process. So you're never actually at the edge of your seat when you're reading a book. But when I was reading And Then There Were None, till the last page, I had no clue. I was like, oh fuck, what is going to happen? Each page I'm so scared to flip. I was like, okay, what is going to happen next? And I
What was the synopsis of And Then There Were None?
And Then There Were None is like it starts off on this train journey or ferry journey, I don't remember. All like I think around 11 or 10 people are going to an island, an isolated island,
Okay.
and they are the
Okay.
guests for some event. Okay,
Okay.
so everybody knows the host in a very vague manner. They don't know them that well, but they're all surprised that they've been invited for this thing, and they've been
Hmm.
invited for the weekend or so. And when they come there, one by one, people start dying, right? And there's a poem
Okay.
in that, and then there's a poem in that which talks about like one piggy, two piggy, three piggy. That poem is it goes on like that. Like there are 11 people, one guy died like this. Then there were 10. Then there were 11. Then there were 9.
Oh, and then there were
Then
none. Yeah, it ends with that. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So how and who is doing this? Because there is no one else. She makes it a point to make it very clear that there is literally no one else on the island other than these 11 people plus the two like servant host people. Okay, that's it. So
It was a Poirot mystery only.
no, no, no. It was not a
No.
murder mystery. It's one of those
Yeah.
uh, No, it didn't have any central known character. It was just complete Agatha Christie magic. Also, just the murder of Roger Croyd, I cannot say anything because if I say something, it is very easy for me to sort of drift into the twist of it. But that did have Poirot. Poirot is a important person in that. So
This
yeah.
off late, I've been stuck with this one Agatha Christie book. I forgot the name. It is
Elephant can't remember.
the Dumb Witness.
Okay.
That
Poirot.
I like started reading like 3 times. It's Poirot only. All of the books I've read is somehow Poirot only.
Okay.
That book I started thrice, but then suddenly halfway through I had to like end it, and then the next time I take it out, I'll have to start from the beginning because I
You forget
somehow
what
don't remember what happens in the book.
like the last very good book that I read, like that really touched my soul through in and in was Namesake. If you've read it, it's an
Oh,
outstanding.
Jhumpa Lahiri, yeah, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
and
Yeah, sorry.
I think it deserved all the accolades that it got because
Yeah,
it was a story that was so definitively rooted in India, but then set in another country, and
country.
this guy's fight like with his identity itself,
Correct.
like that was something. It was relatable also to an extent because of how I was never in Kerala, although I was a Malayali. So a lot of that, yeah,
I
Oh,
a lot
both
of
of you are like that.
keep
a lot-
highlighting the whole
yeah.
fucking podcast.
So when you're reading that book, also you're like, nice, this makes sense.
Yeah,
But then
I
it's
just
a whole
like
new level when it's between India and the US because there it's much worse. The whole lack of an identity and all that.
yeah, correct. But like I felt that whole scene towards the ending where he comes back to the room and he reads that Nikolai Gogoi book for the first time.
Gogoi.
It was so I was like, wow, okay, this is so touching. This is so real. It just felt like, huh, okay, this is something very I don't know, I found it very heartwarming and uh, I don't know. I never had okay, I had an identity issue, I would say I did. But by the time I started reading this book, I was comfortable as who I was. Like by then I had stopped struggling with my own self. So I didn't relate to it in that way. I just related it to the words that she says and how she talks about family and the bond and how the parents are a world apart from the children and all these things. That small the way she introduces the main wife character in her affair. The process of it itself was so well written. It was so well written that I was completely engaged in it. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know about relatability. For me, I was halfway there. So
Have
what?
you guys read this book called For One More Day?
Nope.
No.
What is it about?
Yeah, you were suggesting it the other day, no?
Hmm.
Yeah, I should check it out.
It's about this baseball player who lost, I guess, the game, and I mean, he lost it all, became an alcoholic and all that. Then he becomes depressed or something, and he tries to suicide.
Hmm.
But then the attempt goes, I don't know, wrong, and he ends up spending one more day with his dead mother. And then he realizes how much she struggled to, I don't know, get him where he is now. And it's a transformative book, I guess. So
Okay.
it's nice.
Okay, like the character goes through a transformation through the journey of the book.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair. Okay. So, yeah, you guys like Khalid Husseini, Kite Runner, Thousand Splendid Suns.
Hmm.
Not
Never
read.
read any of his books. No.
Okay. What about
I
Salman?
see. The thing is, I've not read a lot of fiction in my life other than Harry Potter and I think maybe Percy
What
Jackson,
about Percy
Artemis
Jackson?
Fowl.
Yes.
No,
Yes, he hates it.
I hate. I'm going to get a
Percy
lot of
Jackson
hate.
only the first half. Like after the Roman gods started coming in, I gave up.
Oh yeah.
Not Heroes of Olympus. I guess before that. I think till the Battle of the Labyrinth.
But
Till
then
there, I've read. Oh, the
I,
last Olympian. The last
Last
Olympian. I
one,
think the last.
probably. Yeah.
I've only read
That
The
was the
Life
last book
of
I
the
read.
Thief.
I grew up with Percy Jackson. Like when I was 12, he was 12. When I was 13, he was 13. I'll tell you why. Because my mother used to gift those books to me. So on my 12th
Every
birthday,
year.
she gave me Lightning Thief. So yeah,
Oh.
every year I would like when I was 12, he was 12, I was 13. Till then, till I was like 17 or something, I grew up with. So I don't know, I have an attachment towards Percy Jackson. And it's nice. Unpopular opinion, but yes, it's very nice. It's
Yeah.
not like it has the shonen setting, both
Hmm.
like Harry Potter, young boy facing all those troubles, he's the chosen one and all
Yeah, it's
that.
a very template setting and all that.
Correct,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's a shonen setting. If you have watched anime or read manga, it's a shonen setting.
Okay, okay.
So it's there everywhere. But then the story is different, and I like the thing you hate the most about the gods and everything. I actually like it.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the thing I like the most actually because it
Yeah,
introduced me to Greek mythology like nothing else ever did.
yeah.
So if now I say Zeus is the main dude and then Poseidon is his brother and all that, it's all because of Rick
Percy
Riordan.
Jackson.
Percy Jackson, yes.
Yeah.
And the guy was very, very sarcastic, the writer. And you said you didn't like first person narrative, right?
Yeah, I
But
don't
he made
enjoy
it
first
really
person.
fun.
No,
He made it fun.
I don't enjoy first person narratives because it's like it's such a giveaway. It's cheating, right? Like for me, it's the same thing with voiceovers. That is why I dislike GVM today. Because GVM always has like voiceovers in his movie. So it is like it is so easy to say that the character felt sad, right? And then you go into his inner monologues. But if you're able to show it through the world around him, what he feels, that's a different thing, right? Like in a third person narrative, what you do is you cannot go into the inner monologue that much, as much as you would in a first person narrative. The exception being Harry Potter. Uh, but I feel like in a first person, it's like it's a given key. Okay, you're going into this person's world and you're in his head already. So it doesn't give
Yeah,
you.
isn't that fun?
No, I don't know. For me,
You
I
get
don't
more
like that.
attached to that person like that.
No, I don't know. It's
Because
just
you know his thoughts are your thoughts now.
yeah, no. But then
You become the main character.
Yes, exactly.
Isn't that like yeah,
no,
isn't
no.
that appealing?
It is not.
Yeah.
It is not. It is like you're given one perspective. Now, as a writer, I'm locked. Okay, I'm locked to write about this character from this perspective. The only person who sort of gets out of that is George R. R. Martin. He switches perspectives and all these things. Great. But here, what happens is Rick. I mean, say for example, Percy Jackson. Percy Jackson. The main problem with Rick becomes that he has to stick with Percy. So the growth that Percy has is what the readers will go through. But for example, with Harry Potter, you had the opportunity to go and discover a world of things before you come back to Harry and his struggles, because that world also becomes a part of who Harry is. If you're sort of getting what I'm trying to say.
No, but when you're narrating in the first person again, doesn't it like add to the suspense because you are getting to
Exactly. You
know
won't
what
know the
happens
other
around you
person.
along with the character.
Character, but then
Yeah.
there is see, every time a reveal is not the best form of suspense. Sometimes a cat and mouse can also be good, right? But that said, I don't know. It just from a principle point of view, from like me looking at it as a piece of work done by an artist. I don't like first person narratives. I don't like uh, voiceovers in films. It's just a thing, right? But there are exceptions to this. One is the murder of Roger Ackroyd, okay, and the second is Scorsese in Goodfellas. So these two things, fine. But other than that, most of the inner monologues and things like that, I don't really enjoy that. I don't. It's just maybe it's just me, or I hope there's somebody out there who's still listening and is like me. Say for example, there is some concept that you need to introduce, right? So fine, your character doesn't know something, right? And you're being introduced to that concept through that character, correct? So now what will happen is the character will, as a writer, you'll have to take the character into like this. You have to take him on a journey to arrive at that concept. Like there will be somebody, you have to introduce a new character who will come and sit and explain to you, and I mean to the character, to the protagonist, and hence to you, what that concept means. Are you following what I'm trying to say? Right, say for example, I want to talk about a phone, right? So I mean, I'm not the I'm the writer, right? The protagonist is first person, he doesn't know anything about the phone. I have to either introduce a character who knows everything about the phone, and then I'll have to make him narrate that whole incident or thing to me, right? He'll have to explain that, okay, this phone has this feature, this phone has that feature, right? So it just, it's lazy writing. You get it? Whereas when you don't have that clutch, you don't have that thing wherein you're not bound that, okay, you will only get the reveal when the protagonist knows the information. When you can have information that the protagonist doesn't know, as a reader you have information that the protagonist doesn't know, then it makes it more exciting. Get it? Are you following? I guess I lost you guys.
I
I
guess.
think, yeah, in a way that also adds to the suspense, where you're
Exactly.
telling the character, dude, this thing's coming, this is on the way, you have no idea what's in store
Because
for
the
you and all of that.
other thing is like just served to us. Okay, there is a phone. The
Hmm.
character picks up the phone,
Huh.
but it's all served to us. There is no, I guess, involvement. I mean, it's just told to us.
Yeah,
It's
there
like
you're
there
just
is a phone,
spectating.
there is
The
a character. Yeah, exactly. You're not
Correct.
involved in the
You're
story.
the
first person,
It's like watching a movie.
when
fair.
it's in first person, you're more involved in the story rather than when it's on the third person, I guess.
Exactly.
No, yeah,
And
okay,
you
that
can
part. Like,
show.
it's like, okay, I'll give you another example from this book that I was reading. Right, it's called Ministry of Utmost Happiness. So two, three things are happening simultaneously, right? So if you're in a first-person narrative, you have your perspective is strictly that one perspective. You don't have the opportunity to go and see what is happening with the other character. Okay. So here in Arundhati Roy wants to speak about militants and Kashmir and all these things. So she's talking about it from the perspective of an IB officer, which is a first person narrative. So there's this one chapter which is dedicated to that, and the other chapter is dedicated to the character who is one is a terrorist himself, and the other person is a person who is introduced to this world. Okay, so now I have three perspectives, and as a writer, I have the independence to do that. But as Rick Riordan, I don't have the independence to do this. Right? I cannot
No,
see
but he
three
has
events
done that.
converging towards one. You get it? Like three or four or multiple events converging towards this one ultimate ending or finale or whatever, which
There
is
is a
missing in
loophole
like.
for that.
Hmm,
The loophole is that you don't tell the story in real time. You tell it as something that happened in the past.
hmm,
Like I was this,
hmm,
I was doing this or something.
hmm. Then again,
You
the whole
you don't tell
then
it
the
real
whole
time.
fun of discovering with the character is lost, right? You're still in him, and you're only looking at
Yeah,
it
I'm
from this
still
perspective.
in him, but there's still another perspective there because it has already happened.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I've not read enough first person narratives. Maybe I don't know. But yeah,
Maybe I've
And
not just
many
read
books have
enough. Period.
maybe
switched
that
perspectives
is a
also,
possibility, Mister.
and many books have switched perspectives.
Yeah, yeah. That
There will be a first person narrative, and there will be another third person,
Hmm.
yeah,
which
yeah.
is
That
not at
that
all
also
related to
happens.
the first.
That
Yeah,
also happens. That I agree.
yeah.
I'm just saying fundamentally, as somebody who is like, again, I have lost the capability to look at an art form just for the art form. Right? You get it? Like I cannot watch a film for the film. I have when I watch the film, I know the director, I know the cinematographer, I know I'm consciously breaking down the process of making of that movie. Right? Like it is there in me. So the same thing I do when I'm reading a book. Or I'm constantly looking at the structure. Where is the dilemma of this character? What is this character's motive? And all these things. I'm constantly looking for answers when I'm reading itself. So I think somewhere maybe because of that I don't like first person because it just feels lazy. It's just like okay. Like I can narrate a story to you. It's so simple. I can do it. I can sit here and talk to you like, hey, I went to the shopping mall yesterday during coronavirus period, lockdown, and then the police was chasing me like this, and I was thinking this. But at the same time, if I suddenly out of nowhere, I talk about a mall empty, and then suddenly you see a person coming in.
Soorya appears.
Yeah, Soorya appears. He's tall. He's this. He's that. He's lanky. He's
Yeah,
slim.
exactly. You
And then
won't
you
get to
suddenly,
know how.
and then you suddenly start chasing him. So now you have a choice of being. Like, you have a perspective on things instead of being spoon-fed the perspective. Okay, this debate can go endlessly, is what I've understood. And we have 3.5
Yeah, I think we are etching at the very fabric of writing a book.
writing narrative. Yeah, maybe. You were writing something. You had written a novel, or you had written
That was a
something.
long time ago. I have no idea what I did in that. Was it first person? Was it third person? I don't know. I have to go back and read it again. But I wrote about 23 to 25 pages.
That's
Never
a
went
novel.
back though. No, it started one, never finished it.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Nandana? Have you written anything?
Many things.
Yeah.
I've only finished one,
What?
and then I had to shelve it.
You had to finish. You finished
A
a
novel.
novel?
Yes, I did. And
You
then I
finished it.
shelved it.
Okay. Care sharing about
Why?
to the world. Maybe potential
I don't know
publisher
how I
is
finished
not bored yet.
Okay, it was weird. Okay, the story was like very cliche. I think I finished it in sixth or something. There was this I think I was influenced by Famous Five and all that age, and there were five or six.
Murder mystery, huh?
We didn't talk about famous
Not
5,
murder
6,
mystery.
7. Damn. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. You just finished.
See, I could have reached 2000 with all those books. Anyway, it was like there's a group of friends, two of them were brother, sister, or something, and they would go to this old house of their relative. It was a manor or something, and this lady goes to the library somehow, and she sees a book. Then she goes in the book.
Narnia.
Very
It was-
derivative.
no, she goes in the book, and it's just she reaches the same room again. So it was basically the same house, but a few years back, and then something happens. Somebody dies. Something.
Okay. You mean the
I think
fact.
more than Famous
Wait,
Five for me,
wait,
it
wait,
was the
wait, wait,
Secret
wait.
Seven.
Wait, yeah, wait. Coming to that, just one thing out of our story. She used the word manner. She knew the word manner in sixth standard. It speaks volumes about
The name of the book was
I didn't know manner till I passed
Moonglow
out
Manor.
from school.
Oh,
I wouldn't know.
like Bhargav in Nilayam, like that.
Harayan.
Exactly.
She knew the word, right? Manner or something. Alice
The
is okay.
name of the
Mansion
book
is
was
okay.
Moonglow
Manner.
Manor.
Okay. Fair.